The first time I took puberty blockers, I was 15. A few months later, I took estrogen and it saved my life. I can't remember the first time I knew I was a girl because the first time I was so young. Being female has just always been a part of me. What I can remember, however, was how confusing and painful it was when everyone told me I was a boy. No matter how much I insisted, wanted to play with the other girls in the neighborhood, exhibited female behavior, I was told I was a boy and to snap out of it. I was raised Catholic. I went to Sunday school. I learned about God. Alone in my room when I was 8 years old, I would beg God to make me into the girl I knew I was. That I would wake up and be the person I knew I was meant to be. But I was told God doesn't make mistakes, and no matter how much I prayed, God wasn't listening. All I wanted to know was, why me? When I hear the argument that if only trans children had more therapy, if only we didn't indulge their delusion of their own identity, they'll outgrow being trans. I can say from experience that after years of therapy, bullying, and embarrassment, and the torture of having to live as somebody I knew I wasn't, it didn't make me any less trans. It didn't change that in my mind and in my soul, I am a woman. As a kid, I experienced so much harassment that I felt constantly unsafe in public. I used to sneak out in the middle of the night so I could go outside and walk around without being harassed. The time my mom caught me was the time that I came out to her. By that point, I was so worn down, so tormented, that I didn't care what she thought. I was prepared to leave my life behind, either by running away or taking it myself. When my mom asked why I didn't tell her sooner, I said because I didn't want to tear our family apart. I thought maybe my family would be better off without me in it. In that moment, my mom made a choice. She made the choice to listen to me, to believe me, and it saved my life. People say trans kids are being groomed and indoctrinated by toxic gender ideology. When I came out, it was 2010, and I had never even heard of the term transgender. I had never seen somebody like me before. I was categorically and undeniably transgender, despite never having exposure to this ideology. Puberty blockers weren't handed to me like candy. I endured months of investigative therapy with a specialist. There were barriers in place. So my physician, who was also trans herself, had 100% certainty before giving me hormones. There's no cure for being transgender. There's no magic pill you can take. All we have is transitioning. And all we need from you is compassion. I'm now 28 years old. I've lived a remarkable life. I've had a 12-year-long career as a model and have traveled the world working for Louis Vuitton, Chanel, Prada, Dior, Gucci, and so many more. I've been on the cover of dozens of magazines, not for being trans, but because I'm good at my job. I have an amazing, fulfilling life, a group of incredible friends, and a boyfriend who loves me for me. It's terrifying to think that there is legislation being pushed that would criminalize people like my mother for the love that she showed me, or my doctors for the support that they've given me. I may be transgender, but above all, I'm an American. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness is a well-known phrase in the United States Declaration of Independence. The phrase gives 3 examples of unalienable rights, which the Declaration says have been given to all humans by their Creator, and which our government has been created to protect. If your proposed laws lead to death, injustice, and depression, then maybe your laws are un-American. When people show up to champion your cause carrying Nazi flags, you're on the wrong side of history. People like me aren't groomers or pedophiles. We're human beings and fellow Americans.